Welcome to this week's edition of the countdown to the 2027 elections in Nigeria. Our focus, as you would have noticed, have been on the national elections, and specifically, we have been treating issues relating to the presidential election. This week won't be different, and we'll be looking at two major issues that developed in the last few days as they relate to that election in 2027. Welcome once again to Talking Politics with Dr. Oladipo with this sub-theme, Countdown to 2027. I am your regular host and the managing editor of The Eagle Online, which operates at www.theeagleonline.com.ng. We're in partnership with The Eagle Online Nigeria, your favorite YouTube channel, which is growing at a very fast rate. All because of you, all because you subscribe, you like, and you share videos. If you have not subscribed to The Eagle Online Nigeria, please do so right away. And don't forget to share this edition of the program. Now, as I said, this week we'll be looking at two issues. And the first is the pronouncement by Peter Obi, that's the presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 election, that he'll only be seeking one term. That statement has generated a lot of reactions. Before we tell you the import and the reason for that position by Peter Obi, let's hear what he said and some of the comments that it has generated. In a statement which he posted on his X handle, formerly known as Twitter, just on Sunday, Obi said he was going to contest that election in 2027 and won't seek re-election in 2031 if he gets elected. He pointed to global figures who have done only one time in office and made tremendous impact, saying that he does not need 8 years to deliver on his political promises. Who were those that Peter Obi mentioned as having done only one term and left enduring legacies despite their short tenures? He mentioned Abraham Lincoln, he mentioned John F. Kennedy, and then our own Nelson Mandela. Let's quote him and what he said on his X handle. He wrote, "One of the greatest American presidents, Abraham Lincoln, served only 4 years, yet his legacy endures as a model of principled leadership. Another iconic figure, John F. Kennedy, did not even complete a full term, yet his vision and ideals continue to inspire generations. In Africa, Nelson Mandela, revered globally as a symbol of justice and reconciliation, chose to serve only one term as president of South Africa, despite immense public pressure to stay longer. His decision was a deliberate act of leadership, a statement that power must serve the people, not the self. Indeed, history shows that the longer many African leaders remain in power, the more likely they are to be corrupted by it. Longevity in office is not a mark of success. Rather, it is purposeful, accountable service, however brief, that defines true statesmanship. It is within this context that I reiterate my vow. I will serve only one term of 4 years if elected president, and that vow is sacrosanct." That was what he wrote. And he went ahead to show that he has the capacity, he has the ability to deliver on his mandate in 4 years, despite the fact, as he said, that he spent 8 years as Anambra State governor and left what many have described as indelible marks. So, the first major reaction that came from this position of Obi was from the Anambra State governor, who said, anybody who opts for a single term of 4 years when he has the opportunity to serve for 8 years needs a psychiatric check. Yes, a statement came out after Obi spoke, and then Soludo reacted to say that Peter Obi only took that comment to refer to him and not that the governor of Anambra State has anything personal against him. But many knew at the point that statement was made by Soludo that it was in reference to Peter Obi, who just a few days before Soludo made that statement, made that pronouncement. Let's hear what Soludo said when he went campaigning in Anambra South Senatorial District for the governorship election coming up in November this year in Anambra State, where Soludo is seeking re-election. Soludo said, there is zoning in Anambra, and after Chukwuma Soludo as governor, the next governor of Anambra State will go to Anambra Central. Anybody who is contesting for governor in Anambra South is trying to destroy the zoning system in Anambra. Some of them want to come to lie to us. How can anybody with a brain, you think you are talking to fools, you come to say I will do only one term? Any politician, anybody who says that must be sent to a psychiatric home because the person must have some mental problem. When the Constitution allows you to stay up to 8 years, they come and tell us, I'm going to spend only one term. Tell us where it had ever happened. Anybody who says he wants to do one term needs a psychiatric examination. You are taking everybody to be a fool. We have advanced in Anambra. There are calibers and categories of people that Anambrians are saying, go much higher, we're not going to go back. Street urchins, Anambra has no place for street urchins. Those of them who have no school certificate, they want to be governor of Anambra State.
Any politician who said that must be sent to a psychiatric home. Because the person must have some mental problem. When the Constitution allows you to stay up to 8 years, they come and tell us, I'm going to spend one term. Tell us where it has ever happened. Who? On a column, nkwane ekwe nwanyị. Bo. Nkwane ekwe nwanyị. Bo. Nga watch ngote yaba. Ga watch ngote yaba. If I kavana ekwe nkwa. Anybody who is saying I'm going to do one term needs a psychiatric examination, because you are taking everybody else to be foolish, to be a fool.
Based on this, some people have said Soludo was referring to candidates who have come up from Anambra Central Senatorial District, saying that they want to replace him in this year's election. Whereas, according to the governor, it is not yet their turn because of the zoning principle, which means that they have to wait until 2031. However, so many have said plain, simply, that he was referring to Obi. And Obi did not wait to let it cool down before he also responded. And he again defended himself on his one-time choice when he went back to the ex-handle. And what did he say this time around? I still find it baffling that my decision to do a term of 4 years, if given the mandate to rule this country, is generating so much agitation. By this feeling, we are adopting the fact that a sincere leader can achieve much in 48 months. That's what he said. And he went further. I have never been desperate in the pursuit of power or anything else for that matter. There are some traits associated with desperation, which in no way are in any of my political behaviors in the past and now, like engaging in overly aggressive rhetoric or actions to prove a point or gain attention, becoming overly defensive or reactive to criticism, often to the point of appearing paramount, making unrealistic or unfulfillable promises to win support or approval, resorting to personal attacks or character assassination to discredit opponents, or frequently changing positions or policies to suit immediate political needs. Throughout my political journey, I have never been involved in thuggery, the snatching of ballot boxes, or any form of electoral malpractice. I challenge anyone. Conduct your investigations. You will find no stains of rigging or violence associated with my name. And then he went further to justify his position that he can do a lot in 4 years. So he said, in 4 years, we can confront corruption head-on, redirecting resources to priority areas. For instance, the trillions used to acquire new presidential jets and other unnecessary expenses at this time could have been channeled into education, healthcare, or infrastructure. Within the same period, we can ensure that the rule of law is sacrosanct and strictly followed. We can conduct free, fair, and credible elections. And like he did in his first write-up on X, he listed those things that he can do. That position was quickly backed by one of Nigeria's very prominent novelists, Chimamanda Adichie, who said that Obi is not a desperate politician. Backing him. The APC had its own say also within the period. But the big question now is, what has this one-term debate got to do with 2027 election? Simple. There is this clamor for power to return to the North, considering the fact that President Bola Tinubu, a Southerner, is occupying the seat right now. But the South is saying, and a lot of Northerners too, that a Southerner should be allowed to occupy that seat for 2 terms, meaning that for the presidency to move to the North, the Northerners need to wait until 2031. Now that a lot of Southerners are showing interest in the presidency in 2027, aside from President Bola Tinubu, who said clearly and has made his position known that he had the backing of the late Awudale for 8 years, indicating that though unofficially is yet to declare, he also has a sight on the 2027 election. Then means any Southerner is going to come and wants to spend 8 years would have disrupted the movement of power back to the North in 2031. So, for Southerners who intend to take over from the incumbent, that is President Tinubu, there must be some kind of guarantee, safeguard for the Northerners to want to elect them. And that is where this comes from. That is the promise to do only 1 term by Peter Obi. So, if Peter Obi is opting to do a term, it is just to give the North an assurance that you will get power back in 2031, and not that I am going to do another 8 years that will ultimately extend Southern rule if he wins, or if any other Southerner wins, until 2035. Will they not accede to this? It is a no for the southern parts to occupy it until 2025. And that is why the talk of a 4-year tenure became a huge debate in the last few days. Will other presidential candidates who are from the South also toe the path of Obi when they emerge? Will other aspirants, like we have seen, especially in the African Democratic Congress, also vow to do one term? We'll wait to see. But we should also not forget there are people from the North who have already indicated interest in the presidency, meaning that the term, two terms being planned by the South will not be completed if President Tinubu loses that election. And that was why at some point, as we reported here on this show, that is Talking Politics and Other Issues with Dr. Oladipo, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar made a vow to run only one term if he wins that election in 2027. And you'll recollect, as part of that report, we also told you that the platform on which they'll run will be the African Democratic Congress, and that the plan, inside sources in the Atiku Abubakar camp told us, was to have Peter Obi as his running mate and then hand over to him in 2031 to now run as president and do it for 8 years, if he still has the energy to do so then anyway. So this debate will continue, and we may not see the end of it until we get into 2026, up until when the primaries of the parties are being held. But like I said, what Peter Obi is saying as part of his promise not to do more than 4 years is the fact that he can deliver a lot if he's given the opportunity of that one term. He said it as part of his speech, and right of that, he understands the basis of the skepticism of those who feel that one term will not be enough to achieve so much. But we cleared it, that they are judging him by their own standards. Let me quote him now. But they forget, or perhaps choose to ignore, that Peter Obi is not cut from that cloth. He said again, 48 months is enough for any leader who is focused and prepared to make a meaningful difference. I do not intend to stay a day longer. He said he is going to sanitize governance, tackle insecurity through proper use of national resources, improve education and healthcare, support small businesses, transform Nigeria into a productive economy driven by agriculture, technology, and manufacturing. Let me quote him again. These are not utopian dreams. They are realistic, actionable goals that are achievable within 4 years. Will people support him because of this? Will people even believe him? We'll wait to see as we move towards 2027, like I said, especially during the primaries of the various political parties.
So we know we're driving there. So there's nobody that's going anywhere is going in one day. But if we set out to go to Kaduna today, people want to see us in Kaduna Road. If we're headed to Lagos Road, we're in the wrong direction. What is happening now is that we're telling people we're going in this direction, but we're going in that direction. I said, if you don't know where you're going, every road will lead you there. That's the confusion.
Can Nigerians trust that commitment of a single term from you?
So I said it and I put it in capital. I don't need a day more than 4 years. In fact, the day
And
before,
you fix Nigeria in those 4 years.
it's not fair. I will show the direction of good governance. That's why I said
To
it.
what end is this one single?
But human rights lawyer Femi Falana is not so happy with what is happening on the political scene about the talk of 1 term or 2 terms by politicians. His position is that debate should not be happening now because the political elites are using it to distract Nigerians from the more pressing issues of insecurity, hunger, and infrastructure decay. And when he was asked that question on Channels Television's key program, Politics Today, he said he won't join the campaign for power shift or power remaining in one part of the country, describing it as diversionary. You insult Nigerian people when you blaze the politics of the country. When you hand over the politics of the country to a few people who decide who should govern the country, for how many years, and which side of the country should rule the country, which religious group should rule the country. For goodness sake, can we address the problems confronting the country and embrace those who have solutions to the problems of the country? Section 224 of the Constitution provides that every political party in Nigeria shall have as part of its claims and objectives the fundamental objectives of state policy. Section 14 of the Constitution, the most important thing, states that the security and welfare of the people shall be the primary purpose of government. Let us begin to address the problems confronting the country, including electricity, because without electricity, we can't have industrialization. That's where a lot of Nigerians also stand. And the debate continues, like I said earlier. Where it ends will be in 2027. And to the second issue that dominated discussion in the last few days in the country, that has been the reception accorded 2 of the country's national teams, female anyway. You'll recall, our listeners, that the Tigress won the AfroBasket Championship just a few days back. Some days also before that victory by the Tigress, the country's female national football team, the Super Falcons, emerged victorious in the Women Africa Cup of Nations. For both teams, there were also landmarks in their victory. For the Tigress, it was the 5th consecutive victory for them at the AfroBasket. They were led by Coach Rena Wakama, the 33-year-old, who has turned the fortune of that team around with her performance since her appointment just about 2 years ago. She's done great for that team. And for the Falcons, it was the 10th victory they've recorded out of 13 championships in the WAFCON, that is the Women Africa Cup of Nations. And they were hosted by President Bola Tinubu, who doled out cash, houses, and national honors to them. Each of the players of both teams got $100,000, which he said, that's the president now, will be paid in Naira. He gifted them 3-bedroom flats each and a national honor. Their coaches, both for the Super Falcons and did the Tigress, will go home with $50,000 in Naira equivalent, apart from the houses and the national honors. And what has that got to do with 2027? Of course, politicians have taken it up. That the decision to dole out money by the president had more of political undertone than the development of the country's various sports. One of those who have spoken happens to be the opposition party that is serving as the rallying point for the opposition forces in the country, that is the African Democratic Congress. The country, according to that party, would have been better off if President Bola Tinubu had put that money into the development of sporting facilities rather than doling it out to individuals. And there are those who have argued that there is nothing wrong in doing both, that is, doling out cash rewards and national honors to players who have distinguished them, athletes generally, who distinguish themselves in their various sports, and at the same time, developing our facilities. How both parties will gain from this, like we have said, we are going to see in the next few days, especially with the comments by those who are actively involved in these sports. The Minister of Sports is speaking. The Director General of the National Sports Commission and the chairman of that same body, they are speaking. The different parties are also taking their positions. So also are the athletes and coaches, or generally the technical teams involved, also speaking. All this will translate into votes for both the ruling party, that is the All Progressives Congress, and the opposition parties. We wait to see and how much votes they will be able to profit from this argument that dominated the political scene in the last couple of days. So that's where we are. So many other things happened on the political scene, but these are the two we thought very important to share with you as we do the countdown to 2027. More will come your way next week. Don't forget to always stay tuned. Like us, subscribe, follow us, and don't also forget to share our videos. Follow us on all our social media handles, like you'll see in our bio on the channel. We are everywhere, waiting for you to meet us and waiting for you to like, share, follow, and continue to watch us. Until we come your way again, my name is Dr. Oladipo, your regular host. We'll see you next time.